Hey, ladies, welcome back to another episode of the Balancing Hormones Naturally podcast. We have a very awesome guest on here, Dr. Zulia Frost, and she's going to share with us about something that you can actually bring into your own home to help support your health. And I have been using it for, I think, 3 weeks now and loving it, but my husband is more obsessed about it than I am, so we'll have to share his testimony. But I would love for you to introduce yourself and share a little bit about what you do and where you're from and what got you started with Recharge Health.
Thank you so much, Lee, for having me on your show. This is an honor, and I'm really, really pleased to have the opportunity to speak to people about a beautiful technology, which for some will be something new, for some will be something life-changing. You never know. It's something natural, and everyone could easily incorporate in your daily routine.
Yeah.
So my name is Dr. Zulia Frost. I am originally, it's a little bit difficult question to ask because I was born in one country, having different nationality, and so on.
Yeah.
I normally describe myself as a cosmopolitan
Yeah.
for that reason. But in my background, I grew up in Russia, Soviet Russia at the time, and I had my education in Kazakhstan Medical University. And then the big chunk of my life I spent living in the UK, United Kingdom, where I practice, where I start developing taste for this kind of medicine.
Yeah.
Yes. So the easiest way to describe my path to Recharge Health is just to say that first of all, I had my own health issues, which normally I know so many therapists and practitioners who become therapists, they have to sort of go it through yourself, through your own
Yeah.
experience in life. And so same with me, same happened with me. I was in really pretty nasty car crash and
Oh,
uh,
wow.
being young and suddenly feeling like on the brink of disability. It's really scary. So by then I was already a medical doctor, and so I decided I'm gonna put in practice everything I know about health,
Mm-hmm.
and I threw everything, including not just on physical level. Of course, there was tremendous amount of exercise. There was tremendous
Mm-hmm.
amount of um, work on my own self, and but also intent. There was an intent to get well, and I put my thoughts in the right order. And
Yeah.
not knowing, I actually utilize red light therapy because every morning in my recuperation time, I would jog to the edge of the city, watch sunrise and bow sunrise. I didn't know then that was so much healing power on these near infrared lights, but I know it now, and it seems like relevant experience in my life. And it threw me in the path to study more. What else can person have? Of course, you can prescribe painkillers.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you give people steroids when they laugh in their situation. But really, if you want true healing, you need understand that healing. You need understand elements of this. And in my discovery, what I found that there is one big chunk of was overlooked or missing, and that chunk of I would describe as the energy in your
Mm-hmm.
body. Like we address nutrition, right? We,
Yep.
we say, oh, we're going to do osteopathic manipulation, or we have the medication. But nobody really talks about fundamental energy, which fuels life in the
Mm-hmm.
first instance. And if you want to repair broken, damaged cells, what's the best tool to use? It's something to address your mitochondria, that
Mm-hmm.
part of the cell which engage into energy process. And if you do it in the right way, you recover because you employ all the mechanism for recovery. So
Okay, I want to backtrack
yes,
and dig
yes.
into that for a second. So, I really love how you said we can do the supplements, you can do the nutrition, you can do the medications, but you have to address the mitochondria. Can we break so if you guys haven't guessed already, we're talking about red light therapy, but very specifically a type of red light therapy. But I know people kind of throw out mitochondria like they do adrenals, like, oh, my adrenals are fatigued, right? So, can we break down what actually is mitochondria? Like, why would that affect like your everyday life, for example?
Um, Very super important question. Really glad you brought it up, because in our cells we have organelles. They're like little machines, little factory machines, which generates energy,
Yep.
and that energy comes in adenosine triphosphates, and when it breaks down, it releases physical, tangible energy, and each cell uses this energy to power processes in the body. So cell, for example, cell needs to grow. It needs
Hmm.
physical energy to grow, or digest, or procreate, everything like us, like human beings.
Yeah.
And the organelle mitochondria is the one. This is multiple. Mitochondria is a singular, and mitochondria is a many engines, and they constantly generate energy. And very good that you brought it up, because importance of mitochondria is absolutely overlooked, because you can probably survive without food for some days. You can maybe even survive without water for some few days. You can survive without oxygen for some few minutes. Yes,
Yeah.
when you dive. But without mitochondria, you cannot even last a second. How important is that?
Yeah.
It's why nobody addressing this. So this mitochondrial organelle has processes, and the some processes involve generating energy by binding oxygen. Yes, it's
Okay.
called aerobic respiration. So cell breathes. Yeah, it uses
Okay.
energy and synthesize their molecules of energy.
So if somebody like has chronic fatigue, chronic pain, um, I'm just thinking anything in the chronic world, that would probably mean, right, that they have something going on with their mitochondria, right?
Yes, most of the time, because our mitochondria is really sensitive organism. They call it symbiotic organism. It's very sensitive, and it affected by toxins very easily. It's
Okay.
affected by environmental stresses, and now you know what life is now. We constantly bombarded by toxins. If
Yeah.
it's not through food, then through your they put microwave towers,
Yep.
EMF. If
Yes.
walk in everybody's kitchen, it's full of gadgets,
Yep.
and every gadget generates the field, and that could upset mitochondria too. And then we have also some people who love drugs, and they take, I mean, medication,
Yeah.
not recreational drugs.
I know what you're
So
saying.
yes. So, like for example, antibiotics
Yep.
notoriously destroys mitochondria. And of course,
Yeah.
if you have two courses of antibiotics, you can't even assimilate food, because it upsets, it destroys the normal biome. And then it destroys
Yeah.
mitochondria too. So many things constantly bombarding it. And I don't know if you like to know, there's like very latest research
Yeah.
showing that melatonin has very protective properties. And when melatonin is not functioning well, it also can affect mitochondria, because melatonin engage in not only in sleep function, but
Yes.
also antioxidant,
Yep.
and also DNA repair. All that. And considering most of us don't have normal melatonin pattern,
Hmm.
because our circadian rhythm is off. We
Yeah.
stay up late,
Hmm.
we eat late, and then maybe people don't wake up at sunrise. People wake up maybe later, so everything is upset. So there are many factors which can upset mitochondria.
Yeah. It blew my mind when I first learned about melatonin is primarily made in your gut. Only a small amount is made by your pineal gland at nighttime. And I was like, oh, that makes sense because everybody's guts are screwed up. Um, okay, so how do you fix mitochondria? I know we kind of talked about, it's energy, right? And
Mhm.
such a big, important part of just functioning. But what do you do to support mitochondria? Is that nutrition? Is that lifestyle? Is that red light? Like how do we actually fix it if we have issues with it?
Well, I'm sort of person who believes it's not one cure for everything. Yes, you
Yep.
need to do multiple actions. You're absolutely right. Look at your lifestyle.
Hmm.
Make sure you address this circadian rhythm. So go to bed at the right time, wake up at
Yep.
the same time, eat at the same time. You need to protect mitochondria. You can take antioxidant supplements.
Hmm.
That would be good. I like to have natural supplements, like have organic food, which
Yep.
has less toxins in it, less,
Hmm.
herbicides from processing the foods. Yes, and also this all has to be more like greens,
Hmm.
like plants food based.
Hmm.
It's really good for mitochondria. um, and with all that, you also can use red light therapy,
Hmm.
because particularly in near infrared lights, and again, I'm so glad you touched on this melatonin, because it's not many people know about this. It's the latest research showing that melatonin can be produced subcellular inside the cell,
Yeah.
but it does so in response to near infrared light, which comes from
Hmm.
the sunshine. Yes. However, how many people have luxury to be outdoor every day, you know?
Hmm.
I mean, if you work in the office, or you wake up at home and then get in the car, you get to the office, you
Hmm.
constantly indoors, you're not receiving that healing near infrared lights.
Yeah.
Um, so you need to maybe find a way to optimize it. So in this case, I'll be talking about flex beam as a generator for this light. Could use specifically to address mitochondria and fatigue. Anybody with fatigue should absolutely look into red light therapy.
Yeah. So, can we talk about the difference between like a red light panel of infrared versus the flex beam? Because you probably have this patented, which is why I haven't heard about it anywhere else. But when I hear and think of red light, I always think of the panels or the saunas where, you're sitting in front of it. But flex beam, when I came across you guys, it's very, very targeted. So, what made you go from, a panel that's covering more parts of your body to use it in how you do with the flex beam, which is like a very targeted point? Like, what's the difference between those?
Yes, it should start with the talking about and giving credits actually to the inventor of FlexBeam, Arjen Helder. He's my colleague,
Hmm.
and he looked at so much research which is going on in red light therapy and near infrared light therapy, and he keeps saying, "Oh, it just man, it's not enough power, not enough power."
Yeah.
So you know what's happening, because it's LEDs. They're not lasers, so they deliver energy not in a perfect way like lasers would do. So there some photons will be scattered. So in order to deliver in the target tissue, you need the power. You need the power.
Hmm.
So to and from concept of panels, we understood that it has to be on the skin, because then
Hmm.
you don't lose photons in just in the
Oh, okay.
environment. So all of it you brought and placed right on the skin. So when flex beam is on the skin, in the skin contact, then you bring in and you focus in that light. And
Yes.
once on the skin, again, it's good idea because it all goes in. You don't need to wear goggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But fundamentally, the difference is that you can target. And target means on the skin, and also you can do this three-dimensional
Yeah.
beaming. So each module will be beam and deliver photons right in the center where it needs. It's very good for joints.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. So targeted, you target it. And second aspect, it's a power. So if the panels, they kind of distributed power all over the panel.
Mm-hmm.
With this, there are only 6 diodes, but
Yeah.
they are beasts. They are super powerful. And these, the diodes actually pointing and delivering this potent dose inside. So the photons can actually read the target tissue. That's why you need power. But it's
Okay.
completely safe if we use the same power as we give the same power to lasers. It would be a very high class, very, very strong. It could literally burn the tissue. But because it's LEDs, physics of LEDs is different.
Yeah.
It's like it's totally safe, completely safe.
Yeah.
But yet, with power, you achieve the ability to deliver energy right where it's needed.
Yeah. And you have the three different settings. So
Yes,
could we talk about those? Like, I know
yes.
I'll let you
Mhm.
explain it. I'll screw it up.
This is part of target because with settings you can target how deep you want penetration. The advantage of red and near infrared lights is that it can go through tissues and deliver photons of light inside the
Okay.
body. So red is typically absorbs at the literally at the skin level, like
Okay.
maximum centimeter, I would say. So that's why program one, it's red lights primarily, and it's designed for skin problems. Um, Program two, it's combination red and infrared, so will give you a little bit deeper penetration. So if you target, say, small joints on the fingers, toes,
Okay.
you can put program two. And program three, it's pure near-infrared lights, and it goes very deep. With our device, it can go 10 centimeters deep. So
Wow.
you're gonna stimulate with photo effect mitochondria at that depth.
Dang.
So this
Okay.
is part of targeting.
And I know one of your big things that you guys always say is that basically what the flex beam is doing is basically stimulating your body's natural process of healing, correct? Kind of like speeding it up.
Exactly, exactly. I get lots of emails and people say, well, could it treat this? Could it work on this? And I always say, if you understand what light is doing in your body, then you would understand the benefits of it. And it literally creates in their most favorable environment for healing.
Okay.
Like it gives, for example, by ability to stimulate mitochondria in the cell, so you give necessary energy for the cells to actually perform the healing process. Like if you have
Oh,
the
okay.
injury, you have physically broken tissues, right?
Yeah.
So on a physical level, what's happening, there will be some electrical current generated there, and cells literally start crawling to one side and start, cleaning it, interacting, settling. It's like little community on microscopic level. And
Yeah.
so by giving this energy, you help in supporting natural process. Number two, because you bind with oxygen, then you kind of knock out off the nitric oxide, and nitric oxide in small quantities, which as a result of this stimulation will be vasodilator. That
Okay.
means more blood can come to this area. And
Okay.
I'll tell you, as a doctor, that if you want to heal anything, you need presence of blood,
Hmm.
because blood brings all the essential things to you: oxygen, nutrients, you name it, yes, and take the waste away. So absolutely fundamentally important for you to have blood. So by vasodilating and opening collaterals, you actually bring in more of that blood. And of course, it's known in red light therapy affects collagen. That's why in the first instance there was there's some variety of cosmetic devices on the market. Yes, because people immediately, oh, collagen, my skin. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I must say this is good, because when you stimulate with red and infrared lights, the collagen quality comes better. So it's become
Hmm.
much more bouncy, hydrated, much better
Yeah.
quality. Remodeling happens, and stem cells comes to play earlier. So yes, whatever you do, you literally do support natural process, and because of this, recovery goes faster.
Okay, and no matter what instance you're talking about. So, I have some questions of these settings. These are
Sure.
actually from my husband, not from me. So, he is a physical therapist and he's also a runner. And so, he wants to know if he's working, for example, like with a patient who had a fractured I forget the word he even said, but something on the leg, but they also
Mhm.
have sore muscles. He said, would you want to do, like, would you have to do the front and the back of the leg, or could you put it over the back of the leg, for example, and put it on setting 3 and it would cover both of those things at the same time?
Mhm. So the idea, of course, to maximize. So if you can cover with these three active modules, and
Mm-hmm.
if you can cover this leg with all these three modules, that's enough. 10 minutes will give a dose stimulation. But often, for example, ankle, I would put at the front, but then I would put at the back because some
Okay.
aspect of the ankle is not covered, and I like to be giving energy to all this area, saturate with energy.
Okay.
Um, if it just happened recently, then it's very straightforward. You just place where you see the problem. But
Right.
if it's a chronic process and it's been there for a while, and the whole body start changes, the body
Mm-hmm.
mechanic changes, then the need for energy increases because
Yeah.
so many malfunctioning processes run together. So I like your husband said, yes, I would put at the back of the knee.
Okay.
Particularly, I would like to stimulate at least with one module
Mm-hmm.
the blood vessels there, because it's
Okay.
we learned recently that some mitochondria actually free floating in blood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and
So,
and the spine as well.
okay, that answers my question. So if we were like thinking about our leg like this, would you have to, if you were wanting to help support a leg injury, do you have to cover like the whole expanse of the leg, or would it be better to like wrap it around so you're covering
If
this
you have
part?
specific injury, like he has fracture, yes,
Yeah.
then you put right around it, like literally
Okay.
from first hours. But if you deal with like muscular aches, more or less
Yeah.
systemic, yeah, then of course, if it's a runner, like you need to put on these muscles which use more, more or
The
less
length of it.
the most, yeah, then it's over the leg. I
Okay.
mean, we need to identify the goals, what we try to achieve.
Okay. So that brings me to my next question. What if like you don't have like a knee injury or a back injury? Like you don't have anything, very acute like that, but you just want to have overall better health. What would you like where would you put it?
Mm. Um, this good question, because it's probably unique device on the market which can be helpful for people who have problem and people who have zero problems,
Mhm.
but it helps to optimize the energy. And for this I would put on the stomach. I love stomach,
Oh,
and I
okay.
tell you why. Because you already mentioned, oh, melatonin produced in the gut, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, but also think of your stomach as your engine, because everything, whatever nutrients you put in your stomach, it needs to turn into some proteins, some substances. You break it down, and
Yeah.
then you synthesize enzymes,
Mhm.
neurotransmitters, all that, and that is all your stomach. And considering we running around stressed nowadays, no matter what, no matter how you meditate all day, you still stress somehow. So this is the area which takes the stress, so it makes
Okay,
sense
yeah.
to put on the stomach and get systemic effect. um,
Okay.
Also, from the because I also studied CCM, traditional Chinese medicine,
Mhm.
acupuncture, I recognize their energy importance. So that is right in the center of the body. We have very, very important meridian, especially for women. We have this conceptual vessel meridian. So when you put it vertically over the stomach, you're covering the key, very, very important points. One of the points, actually, just below the navel, it's called the Sea of Qi, which means the sea of energy in the body. So when you stimulate that, it just gives that amount of energy. So we have reserves in our body.
Oh, okay. That's so interesting too, because we've had a pelvic floor therapist on and she talked about, I don't know what it's called, but it's this ligament that connects to your uterus and literally comes all the way up your sternum to some place in your neck here. And the exercises that she gives, she said, it really is about lifting that uterus and connecting all of that. So that's very interesting that you talk also about putting it on that same place, that midline. So would you just do it is that vertically, like up and down, or would you do it up and down and then also like horizontal over your stomach as well?
Yes, I prefer to use. Okay, I even gave the name for this technique. I call it the cross.
Okay.
Vertical over the navel and then horizontal over the navel. And again,
Okay.
because on this, when we just form as an embryo, the cell, you have one embryo cells, then
Yeah.
it divides vertical. Yes, that's your
Oh.
meridian first, and then it divides horizontally. Divides horizontally. So this is most archaic, most fundamental meridians in the body: vertical, horizontal, and
Huh.
it goes through the navel. So that's why it's important to place, from my point of view as well, because
Yeah.
I take that stuff seriously. The people, mm, ancient Chinese medicine, they express in an old flourish way, but there is some essence to it. It relates to embryology, it relates to anatomy a little bit. So why not to utilize this knowledge?
Yeah.
One thing you said, you could also put here vertical over the
Yeah.
sternum, over the chest.
Yeah.
It's really good because, first of all, our heart is there, and heart is really rich on mitochondria, so we can
Ah.
replenish that. But also, it's really calming because it's kind of mimicking the vagus nerve, which goes inside in the
Okay. Yeah.
spine.
Yeah. So, what setting would you do if you were gonna do the cross one? Would you do two or three?
Yes, general rule, I'd say front is program 2, back is program 3.
Okay.
Okay, just as a general rule, because it's a little bit gently at the front. But if somebody has a true issue, like like you said, the injury, for example, then
Mhm.
we go for 3.
Okay.
But otherwise, we could do 2.
Okay. So stomach is like general wellness. I'm assuming that's probably going to help with digestion. I don't know,
Yes,
potentially stretch
yes,
marks. I don't know.
yes.
Like, would you have to cover like every part of your stomach though if like you were working on stretch marks?
If somebody has stretch marks, it's just you just place where they show. Okay,
Mm,
so maybe two places, maybe 3 places. I recommend about 30 minutes, maximum 40 minutes on a session. But if you work with the skin, remember you need program 1. You need
yeah.
red light.
I remember that. It's literally, I'm like, go deeper the higher the numbers go. Okay, so this is very interesting. So what about energy versus sleep? Like let's say you have trouble sleeping, or you have trouble like, I don't know, with energy. Are there two separate like maybe programs that you or places you would use for that?
Yes, but they kind of linked, right? If you don't sleep well, then you feel
Yeah.
fatigued, and then your energy declines. So, um, in my protocol, which I put together, it's all based on users because everybody is using device. They feedback me information, and I put together making sense of this. So, what we found for both conditions, energy and I would do a combination. So first, the central over the chest,
Mhm.
second cross on the stomach.
Okay.
This is one session. But next day, I would put it over the spine, over the
Oh.
spine. And on the spine, typically it's 3 positions.
Okay.
For somebody smaller, it's 2. Somebody larger, it's 4 positions. So if you combine these 2 protocols, there would be good coverage. One thing I would say, if people have, for example, adrenal fatigue, you mentioned before,
Mm-hmm.
then it makes sense to give a little bit boost for adrenals. So place at the back horizontally, but
Mm-hmm.
above the waistline. So
Mm-hmm.
where the middle module goes over the spine, and these two will be covering
Mm-hmm.
kidneys with adrenals. So
Okay. So
yeah.
these programs are the ones on the website. Like you can
Mhm.
search, like it's just there. If you have FlexBeam, you can go in and look at those. Does it depend what time of day you do those? Because I'm thinking about it. My husband was doing his for a knee injury, and following those programs, it was like one on the knee, and then the next day it was like knee and one on the back as well. And the one on the back I'm remembering was over the adrenals. And he was telling me, he's like, dang, when I do that at nighttime, I'm just ready to go. Like, I am not ready for bed. So, does it depend? Like, if you're going to be doing anything on the back in that instance, should you probably not be doing that before bed?
It varies because people have different degree of response. First of all, we are
Okay.
differ by our vitality, by our age, fitness level. For him, it may be energizing, but somebody who's get, like, say, melatonin issues, it would be opposite, relaxing.
Oh, okay.
My preference, if you use device, you either use to kind of sync with nature. Remember, red
Okay.
lights you see at the sunrise or sunset.
Yeah. Oh,
So
okay.
you either do it in the morning or later. And if you find that it's energizing you at night, then shift to first thing in the morning when you wake up.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So like I said, he's a runner, and he used it, I think probably just a week, and he noticed a massive difference in like his leg after running. He's like, it doesn't hurt anymore. So that was really cool. Um, what are some of your favorite testimonials that you've had from people that you've used it in your clinic?
Oh gosh, I don't know. Probably the favorite was because it was unexpected, I would say.
Hmm.
I had one girl who had tremendously painful periods,
Okay.
and she suffered for she's 24. She suffered for all these years, and we just suggested, why not you put it over your low abdomen and low
Yeah.
sacrum. In 4 days, she came back and she said, it's like remarkable. There is no pain. And then she, tried it for next a couple of periods, and it's completely gone. To me, this
Wow.
is like giving somebody a really quality of life because it's so debilitating.
Yeah.
Um, but besides that, I get all sorts of testimonials. People with I had the one girl. She come off the motorbike, and
Oh,
yeah, very deep wound in the knee. Really, like, tremendous pain, like 4 centimeters deep. Uh, you
ow.
know, gash and wound. And again, she used it as a healing tool for her recovery. She recovered, and also, I understand she is a woman. And then she showed me a few months later photograph of her scar. There hardly any scar. It
Oh,
was so tremendously bad. I've got photograph of the beginning. I think she's gave testimonial on the website, but for her, recovery was tremendously fast.
yeah.
She was pain free a lot earlier, and then she healed the horrible wound with a just tiny little scar, which I'm sure it will remodel even further throughout the years. Yeah.
Yeah.
um, I had the I had testimonial from athletes who prepared themselves to run. My husband ran, and he used flex beam, and
Yeah.
he said that his running partner, was like out of breath, and he was just whistling away, full of
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it definitely makes a difference. Could you use it then in terms of like prevention if you are an athlete? Like, let's say, I don't know, you're a runner or you're a weightlifter, or could you use it as a way to strengthen your body for prevention against injuries?
I think so. I think so. I had this question. So then we designed to do a case study to
Okay.
see if it's really work or not. So we've got the flex beam, and then we make extra two. But in those we cut
Okay.
the red light, so it was like a placebo. And we used
Oh, okay.
athletes to try to ask them to do the I think pull ups or pull down until they fatigued. So we
Okay.
counted how many times they've done it at the baseline, and then shine them with flex beam, four positions on the body,
Okay.
and measured immediately how many they could do push ups, and then uh, 20 1 hour and 24 hour. And we repeated this a few times with few people, and there was interesting results because 1 hour after stimulating with flex beam, everybody got tremendous improvement, really
Hmm,
significant improvement.
that's cool.
And people who used sham device or the placebo device, they
Yeah.
hardly any change, hardly any change.
Wow.
And so that's already put my mind at rest, because knowing this is so then I started recommending other sports athletes to use it, and they all commented that it really helps them to perform better.
Okay. That's so
And
interesting.
yes, and I think if you an athlete, especially professional, they compete for split of the seconds. For them,
Yeah.
any result is good. So why not to use natural way to help yourself?
So now I'm just going to pivot, and you may not know the answer to this. So we've talked a lot about like healing and injuries and muscles and energy, but what about women with like chronic hormonal issues like endometriosis or fibroids or things like that? Um, Obviously, you can't make medical claims, but is that something you would want to use like over your uterus? Would you want to use flex beam? Like just I don't know. You
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me.
sure, sure. Well, if you just understand that this is a actually support in your recovery device, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what Brad says. I would definitely recommend, together with whatever the course of treatments they're going
Right.
through, it's only gonna do good because it's gonna give energy for the body to deal with this issue.
Yeah.
And I am very sure there will be results. Well, I'm sure because I have people writing to me with endometriosis. It's been helpful.
Wow.
Yes. So and then when you look at this and thinking, okay, maybe it's a hormonal dysregulation, and then immediately think, melatonin. Maybe through melatonin mechanism we can help this person. So
Yeah.
I just think it would be a good idea to use it.
Would you be using setting 3 then because it's more chronic, or would you still only do 2?
For something like this, I would setting three.
Setting
Yes.
3 still over the
Yeah.
uterus. So how
Yeah.
do you use flex beam every day? Like, what's your flex beam routine?
My routine is because I must say, after that, my injury,
Mhm.
I left with some debilitating condition. It will never go, but I need to exercise. So every
Yeah.
time I go for a jog, then I put it on my low back, sacrum, and I like to use it on the abdomen. And
Mhm.
it's so relaxing, very nice. Sometimes people also say, "Oh, do you use it for collagen?" Yes, sometimes I use it. In our manual, we said, "Do not shine in your eyes."
Mhm.
But if you put the goggles and you
Mhm.
just at distance like 20 centimeters, you can just 10 minutes a day on
On
program
program
one,
1.
shine just to improve a little
So we
bit
can
collagen.
anti-age ourselves.
Yes, yes. But we enter age because we even putting on the body, you're still gonna have benefits
Yeah.
because it clears this reaction oxygen species build up
Yeah.
as we know it. Yeah.
Yeah, because even if you were, like you said, just doing the cross, I don't know, would you have to do it like every morning, or it's 20 minutes if you just do the cross? Um, it's going to
Yeah.
be affecting your entire body because it's stimulating that healing of the mitochondria.
And recent research shows that a microbiome, your gut bacteria, good one, light sensitive. It actually can
Oh, wow.
harvest light. Yeah, and
Huh.
you start repopulating your gut with a good one just under light influence. Very good
Wow.
study. Like probably 2 years ago, I've seen it. Yeah. Um,
Wow.
yes, I wanted to tell you. If people use it daily, they need to make a break because
Okay.
there is a situation with light therapy. If you start pumping energy in the body, it has a cumulative effect. So
Oh, okay.
over a period of time, you build up energy reserves. So you need to make a break. Otherwise, uh, what's happening? You get effect, and then one day you overdone it, and so you start having less and less effect. So you
Okay.
could have to the point that it's not going to work for you. So those
Oh,
people
okay.
who use it all the time, you should
Mm-hmm.
know when you notice you stop getting beneficial results from it, that means you overdone.
Okay.
Yes, so stop, make a break. My recommendation, which are just designed for simplicity, it's Monday
Yeah.
to Friday, weekend off. So
Oh,
you
okay.
have a routine during the week, weekend, you do whatever you like. And
Okay.
it seems working well.
Yeah. Is there anybody that shouldn't use red light or flex beam?
Um, well, like anything, right? To start with, good thing you do in moderation. You don't
Yeah.
overdo it. Yes. Um, I've been asked the question, what is too much? What is too much?
Yeah.
Basically, anything over an hour, I think it's too much. Yeah. So
Okay.
try not to do it. 20, 30, maximum 40 minutes time is good. Um, Number two is if people are ill, because some people are ill and they think, oh, for example, cancer patients, they have
Mm.
cancer and cancer notoriously also mitochondrial disease. So you can help yourself, but you're not allowed to put the flex beam over the cancerous tumor
Okay.
because it stimulates the blood flow. It might stimulate the tumor. So you can work
Okay.
in different parts of the body, even
Okay.
on reflex zones like hands and feet.
Okay.
You can just put it on your hands and just sit there like this. Yeah. So that's the way you can support yourself. So we say that with pregnant women, nobody studies pregnant women for ethical reasons. So we
Yeah.
cannot say. So we just say do not place on the pregnant uterus.
Mm-hmm.
Breast tissue also quite sensitive because often maybe some process started there. We don't know.
Yeah.
So another thing, the thyroid gland is really close to the surface here,
Mm-hmm.
and flex beam is quite strong. So what
Mm-hmm.
my recommendation is not to use it directly, but use it through the back of the neck. If
Mm-hmm.
you use through the back of the neck, then you can improve supply of the blood and everything to the thyroid.
Mm-hmm.
Same with testes, because immediately, because there's internet full of studies on testosterone and in red light therapy. So, testes are very close to surface again,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some weak red light therapy devices, okay, but flex beam is very potent.
Okay.
So, so people shouldn't be put in for a whole 10 minutes, you know, or just not put in there at all. I mean, it's
Probably not a good idea. We won't supercharge them.
like that. Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So this is very, very cool. So, we went over ways that you can use this for injuries, ways you can use this for just general healing and energy. I think that it would be, especially all of my clients with like very chronic issues, they're doing all the things, they're doing the nutrition, they're doing the lifestyle and the stress management, but life is just stressful. Period,
Yes.
like you said. And so
Yeah.
I think it'd be very interesting to just have them do something as simple as like the cross over their abdomen, like
Mm.
every day. And see how you start feeling. And I'm pretty sure FlexBeam has like 30-day money back guarantee. So, that gives you
Yeah.
4 weeks to try it. And we definitely noticed a difference in, I think it was
Mm.
just 2 weeks. So, definitely enough time to see if it works.
Yes, I agree. I get lots of through social media, lots of feedback. People write to me on every whatever application you think of, and I am really in touch. And I see people liking the device. They say it really works, and then
Hmm.
they start using it like husband using wife, husband for injury, wife for sleep, and the
Hmm.
kid using just for stomach or whatever.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's kind of really easy because you could just put it there, for example, here and watch TV,
Yeah.
or tie it to your back and continue to work on your laptop.
Hmm. Yeah. No, when I work on it with my wrist and I just like strap it on and just go about my
Yeah.
day and it's fine. It's also very short. It's not like you have to like it's just 10 minutes. So, it's not a super long time. Well, we will put the link for you guys to check out FlexBeam, and I'll link their website because that's where all of Dr. Zulia's protocols are, which is what we've been following. And you can use the discount code Leah, just my name, for I'm not sure which percentage off, but it does give you a discount. So
Yeah.
definitely use it. Thank
I
you
will.
so much for coming on.
Oh, thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm really pleased to be able to speak and talk about FlexBeam and giving a little bit of people education about lifestyle
Yeah.
and sorry.